At the end, just in case, but hey, here we go. I'm Allie. I'm an alcoholic and a drug addict. I have 76 days today. Where are the tissues? Yeah, thank you. 77 days ago, I was living in a tent and I tried to commit suicide and it didn't work. And I woke up in the morning, I was really pissed off that it didn't work. But this is not my first time in recovery. So I was given the gift of desperation and I got into my phone and I put in AA and I started dialing all the sober women that I knew. And an angel voice picked up the phone, a woman I've known for 30 years who's well established in recovery. And I told her I'm living in a tent and I've been smoking weed for years and I tried to commit suicide last night and it didn't work. I need help and I can't do it alone. And those were not my words. That was God speaking through me, and it was God who saved me as well. She asked me if I needed detox and I said, well, I don't think so, and I didn't apparently, but because I've known her for 30 years, she said, do you have a car? I said, yes. Do you have gas in your car? Yes. Can you get on a ferry and get to a hotel in Montlake Terrace? And I said, yes. So she was in California and she called the Studio 6 in Montlake Terrace, Washington, and got me a room and got over there, and one of her sponsees came and met me when I checked in and brought me toothpaste and shampoo and a whole bunch of Halloween candy. She knew I was going to need a lot of candy. And she introduced me to her home group, which is now my home group that meets 7 days a week at 6:45 in the morning. They're out of California because her father passed with 15 years sober out of San Diego. So I have been with the people in my home group since day 2. And I felt it was really important to get established and see the same people every day and you know, just be with the same people and be able to be vulnerable and tell my truth at each meeting. So that's my home group. And it's kind of cute because I put up my day count every day and I get little private messages saying, congrats on 75, congrats on 76. And really sweet. I've got some phone numbers of women in that group. And so I'm a crier. And so on mornings when I cry, I get phone calls and texts from them asking how I'm doing. So I don't feel alone anymore, because part of the problem was that I had isolated myself completely, especially from anybody in the program. I got away. It's not an uncommon story. I stopped going to meetings. My sponsor, God rest her soul, she passed, and I thought, well, I've learned enough from her. I don't need another sponsor. And next thing you know, because of my poor behavior, a lot of my sober girlfriends also chose to just peace out in my life. So then I got the big fuck yous and I just blocked everybody that I knew that was sober, and I decided I was just going to smoke weed and just be me, and that was going to be it. But you know, 20 years ago when I came into the program, I was doing coke and I was drinking straight shots of vodka and tequila and smoking marijuana. I have not had any alcohol or cocaine for 20 years. My story, I stayed sober for 16 years and then stopped going to meetings. My sponsor passed, and then I decided I was different. I'm special. I can try it. You know more about alcoholism, like never drinking in the morning, never drinking at night, taking a trip, not taking a trip. I was definitely in that situation. So I have my own apartment now, which my friend also helped me get out of because staying in a hotel is expensive. So we got me what's called a micro studio, and it's I've never been happier with where I'm living. And part of the reason is because it's quiet and there's no weird sounds or smells, right? The place where I was living before was full of alcoholics and drug addicts. And just by chance, they would just pop by and hand me a bunch of mushrooms or whatever. So even though it's the tiniest place I've ever lived, it's the safest that I've ever felt. Um, I think it, well, I know it's all God. God put me there for a reason. I had a sponsor previously, and I chose to make a switch. I was reminded by the women in my home group that this is my program and to thine own self be true. If I wasn't getting what I needed from the woman that I chose, like on day 2, that I'd known before. And I was in a situation where I couldn't afford gas for my car to get to a meeting. Cindy had not only introduced herself to me, but she got my phone number. Sorry. And then she called me. And I remember thinking, that's who I want to be, right? You find the people that you want to emulate. If you have what I want to be closer to you. So I called her and asked if she would give me a ride to the meeting. And she did. And now I have a job and I have gas in my car, but we still drive together. But I knew when it was time for me to find a little better fit for my program, I asked Cindy, and we started off our relationship reading the sponsorship pamphlet, which I think was really a beautiful idea. We're really grounded in what's written, and we know that we walk shoulder to shoulder, right? I've had sponsors before that would tell me what to do or tell me what I did wrong or make righteous judgment calls about what I was thinking, but I didn't get any of that from Cindy. So I look forward to continuing to go through the book, because even when we were just reading the foreword to the first edition, I was like, what? I've never read that before. So every time you open up the book or every time I open up the book or go to a meeting, I hear something that I think I've never heard before, right? It just hits me in just the right way. So I do my online meetings every morning, and then I've been finding in-person meetings in my neighborhood around. Not new in the program. I feel really blessed that all the tools that I had learned and all the practices that I had in my previous recovery, I knew to put those right back in right away. And I was blessed lately to get partnered up with someone in the program that has like 11 days less than me. And so she and I have been really relying on each other, texting every day. How are you doing? Do you need a phone call? So finding more new sober women to surround myself with and create those relationships. I have never been so steeped in faith before. Not only do I go to my home group meeting every morning, but I read On Awakening in the first person out loud. And when I find myself kind of skimming through it, I'll stop and go back and really do it with intention. And I think about it throughout the day. And I also think about the topic of my home group meeting throughout the day and what I've heard. So I feel like I'm more active in AA, but I also know that I'm only here by God's grace. And so anytime anybody asks me to do anything in AA, I say yes, even if it's scary or if I'm going to cry. I'm blessed to have a job. I'm a caregiver for a woman in the program. She has 40 years sober, and I've never had a job where I could be honest about my recovery. So sometimes when I get there in the morning, she'll say, how are you doing? And I'm like, yeah, I'm okay. And she's like, sit down, let's pray, let's talk about it. She also says, if you need to go to a meeting today at lunchtime, you can do that. But I really am just surrounded by amazing women in recovery. I feel very safe. And there's definitely been tinges that pop up every now and again. I'll get in the car and I'll like start to reach for a marijuana vape pen just because it was habitual just to do that. And I just say, not today, Satan, not today. And I'll pull the car over and say a prayer, or if I've had something happen throughout the day where like my body hurt really badly and I'm in charge of administering the pain meds for the woman I'm a caregiver for. One night I was driving home and it was Friday night and my addiction was like, girl, you should have grabbed a half of Vicodin, right? Like, not today, Satan, not today. I have Tylenol at home. I took a hot shower. I did some stretches, but it bothered me for about 2 hours after I got home. And I thought the first thing I can do is be honest. So I called my sponsor and I told her what's up. And we kind of like rolled the tape backwards to see maybe what was missing in that week and what I can do to bulk up to try to fight that in the future. I live alone. And so every once in a while, again, my body will just be like, where's that marijuana? But that's my addiction, right? Just looking for any opportunity to kind of get back in there. I can honestly say I am not at risk of drinking or using. The love that I've been shown and the support that I've been given this time around it gives me so much faith. And this is my third meeting today. So, when I heard that these ladies were coming, I said, maybe I'll join you. And they were like, yes, please come. So I'm always looking for a new and a different experience, right? Like the set aside prayer. I need to have a new, different experience with the God of my understanding, with the people in the program, with my faith, with what meetings I choose to attend or not attend. So I'm not new, but I'm new in a way that's really beautiful. Suicide has always been my bottom in the times before. But just smoking weed literally took me to the choice to move out of a beautiful waterfront apartment and choose to live in a tent. And then when things weren't going my way, I just thought I would just get out of there. So it's like marijuana is legal now. And like we've talked about a few times, it's not the marijuana of the 70s or the 80s. It's not the little dime bag I got in junior high school. It's dangerous and it's powerful. And it definitely had its grips on me. I couldn't figure out how I was going to be able to stop it, even though I had a history in AA. It just didn't come to my mind to pick up the phone and call somebody until it got just that bad. So I'm here. I'm shocked that I'm standing here talking to you guys. But when I'm asked to do something in recovery, I do it, even if it scares the living crap out of me. I'm happy to be here. Yeah. I have a really strong relationship with the God of my understanding, and I do things like walk side by side with him. And oftentimes I'll set my purse down like next to me, and that's God. I keep God in my purse. Or if I'm going into a situation that I find really challenging, I'll wait like 3 seconds and let God go before me and kind of pave the way. So I'm not operating on my own self-will any longer. With the woman that I care for, I definitely have an opportunity to, like she asked me on Friday, do I need to pay you? No, she had paid me the day before. But that's where my on awakening comes in, right? Selfish and self-seeking motives. So it's really nice to be able to just be clean and be honest in everything I do, because I don't have messes to clean up anymore. I'm not hurting anybody's feelings, and I'm keeping my side of the street clean. So I'm really happy to be here. I love the history of this meeting. I'm in awe of it. And thank you for giving me the opportunity to share a little bit with you about my story.
Thank you.